Hi guys, welcome to the second video to my granulating watercolor series. In this video we are going to explore 3 different ways that we can spread watercolor. Really quickly, here's the supplies I'm using. I've got my Supervision colors. We're using the red violet and the purple brown. For my book I am using the Rubens Sketchbook. And then for my brushes, I've got my Princeton Neptune number 6 and the Princeton Velvetouch long round number 8. These are all the supplies that we've been using throughout my mini series for my wet on wet techniques. And we've now graduated onto doing the granulating watercolors part. So if you're looking for the first granulating watercolor video, I've listed it down below in the description. I've also listed all these supplies in the description, so please feel free to check that out. So I've got my palette over here. This palette is by Patti. For anyone interested, I've listed her info below as well. I've got my colors over here. This is my granulating palette. So here we go. For this exercise, I will be using the 2 brushes that I mentioned. One brush to add color, the other brush to sort of spread it around. So the first technique, that's for one of the techniques. So the first technique, let's start with this. We're going to start with this color right here. Feel free to use whatever colors you have on hand. You don't have to be using a granulating watercolor, but these are super pretty and I love these, especially for demonstrating how the color flows and goes along on the paper. Alright, so here we go. So let's just say we're doing a flower, for instance. One of the ways that you can spread watercolor once you've added some color is you could use the one brush and simply wash it off and then come back with water. But that takes time, that takes a little bit of extra effort, so why not just use 2? So here we go with 2. For the number 8, I'm just keeping it ready with water. And let's just say we want to create 1 petal. And then we take the one with water and we create a petal right next to it. And when you touch that area of water, now you can see there's a lot of water over here, so this is why I keep my paper towel handy, just in case there's too much, so you can just dab some off. Now what you can do is just touch the petal and it immediately sort of pulls down all the color into this area here. Now it's not sure how this is showing up on screen, but let me do another one over here on this side. I'm lightly touching this area and you can see the water, the color immediately seeping into this new blob of water that I've created. So let's just, now at this point we've got some color flowing in. You can help it along if you want to, but what I like to do, especially for flowers, is we've got some seepage happening here, so instead of helping it along and making it look, making it look too forced, I'll just go on the other side and add some color. And we always push all the color down to the base if you're doing a flower. Same thing here. And now again, I'm going to do the same thing. Take the brush, my water brush, and let me just move this aside and create my next petal. And the whole idea behind this technique is touching that shape of water or that body of water to help the color seep in and do its watercolor magic. So same thing here, I'm just going to take some color and add it to the edges, and that kind of gives us our spread of color. It also helps, like this is the technique you would use to do white florals, I would imagine as well. And again, if you want to keep some areas open-ended, if you want to keep some areas very dainty and light, this is your best technique that's me just guiding some of the stuff along. And then you can just go in the center and maybe add some darker tones, and you have your basic flower. All right, so here's technique number 2. And for this, we're going to be starting off with the number 8. We need that nice fine point tip. And this time I'm going to use the other color that we have happening here. I think that's the purple brown. And what I'm going to do is get my number 8, getting some nice thick color from my palette. I'm just going to go ahead and paint in 5 little strokes in a circle. So you could say they're like little blobs of color. And then we're taking in our number 6, making sure we've got good enough water but not too much. We're going to help this color spread around by just pulling in from the center and creating our petal shapes. And this way, this technique allows for more flexibility with color control. So if you want your flowers to be really light and pretty, this is a fabulous way to make sure that you're not going too dark. And then at the end, I always like to go in the center and just add my darker little blobs, and this way it kind of oozes into the flower and we have our cute little flower. So that's technique number 2. Now before we go on to technique number 3, I want to remind you guys, if you like videos like this, please hit that like button and please hit that subscribe button, as it really does help my channel grow, and it's such a great encouragement for me to continue creating videos like this for you guys to learn from. All right, so let's get into technique number 3. Technique number 3 is one of my favorites. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to use the number 6 first and then the number 8. So what we are going to make sure, again, just like always, time is sort of kind of the essence. So that's why we're using 2 brushes. I'm using the number 8 and I've got some color on here already. I'm going to use the number 6 to just get water on it, and we're going to paint our petals in with just water. You guys have probably seen me use this technique several times in my lives here on YouTube or in any of my other video tutorials. It is my favorite technique. It also makes me feel super calm and super relaxed just to watch that watercolor sort of blend in. This is why we also sort of started doing the skyscapes recently. All right, so I've got 3 petals, and what I'm going to do is add some color in just in certain areas here. I'm not painting the whole thing. You could choose to do one side with color, then do the center maybe, and just help it along on the other side. Maybe leave the top open. It's entirely up to you. This way you're kind of figuring out which areas of your petal you want to have really dark, which areas you want light, where you want it to blend, where you want some white shadows. I'm going to do my last 2 petals. And the key to this technique is making sure your water is not pooling over there. Because here, I've got some water pooling here. I'm not going to wipe it off. Watch what happens. You see how that color is not moving? I had to really move my brush in towards the water, and that's when it kind of gave me that spread. So thanks guys for watching. I hope you guys found these 3 techniques very, very helpful. Please feel free to go ahead and take a sheet and practice to your heart's content. Patrons and Creative Fabrica fans, I have another video for you using the same techniques we learned in this video. This is what we are painting. And guys, please use this as an inspiration to go ahead and paint something like this for yourself. Moody flowers. Thanks guys for watching. Please hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. And when you do paint something pretty, please tag me on social media. My icons or my handles, sorry, are listed below. Thanks guys. Bye.